Alright, we're going to be talking about chapters 13 through 19. So,
Yeehaw.
chapter 13. Oh, this is a plot summary.
Yeah, plot
Chapter
summary.
13. They have a lot of parties getting ready for the wedding. Since Baba is sick, they try to go faster. Baba spends his life savings on the wedding. A little while after the wedding, Baba dies. Everyone comes, but Amir feels like he cannot cry. And since the engagement was so quick, Amir learns more about Soraya's family after. So he discovers that General Tahiri is depressed and doesn't work. He collects money from the government, and then once every month he kind of has to take a week to himself where he's really upset. It's kind of weird. Jamila, which is the mom, isn't allowed to sing because General Tahiri thinks that's something a servant would do. And she's kind of a hypochondriac, she thinks she has every medical issue, but she really likes how Amir sits and listens to her. Soraya tells us more about what happened with the man she lived with. You find out that they spent a month together, so yeah. Amir's novel gets published. Soraya and Amir try to have a baby, but they can't, so they consider adoption, but General Tahiri is really against it, and so that kind of makes Amir more unsure. Chapter 14. Amir is called by Rahim Khan, who asks him to come visit Afghanistan.
No, Pakistan.
Oh, yeah, Pakistan. Yeah, sorry. Okay, Pakistan. Khan is very ill. He visits the, so Khan's very ill, and then Amir visits the Golden Gate Bridge and sees kites, which kind of reminds him of Hassan. And then I think Khan knows what happens because he tells Amir that there's a way for him to be good again. Amir and Soraya feel distanced, and Amir dreams of Hassan, and he leaves for Pakistan a week later. So, chapter 15. Amir lands in in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get confused.
Then he goes into Afghanistan later.
Yeah. Okay. Baba and Khan had kept in touch, but since Baba's death, Amir hadn't talked to Khan. Amir is pulled into Khan's apartment. Khan looks very sickly. They have tea and talk. Amir updates him on his life. Khan explains that he had lived in Baba's house since they fled. Khan explains how Afghan has been fighting and that the Afghani people cheered when the Taliban took over. Khan then coughs blood into his napkin and says he doesn't expect to live past the summer. He has a favor to ask of Amir, but first he has to tell him a story about Hassan. So in chapter 16, the narrative switches to Khan's point of view. Khan tried to take care of the house, but then he realized it was too big and he was too old and kind of made him too tired. He goes to find Hassan living in a village with a very pregnant wife. Khan asks Hassan to come back to help him and keep the house. After some hesitation, he agrees. But Hassan refuses to live in the house, so he and his wife live in the hut out back where Hassan used to live. The baby is a stillborn girl. She being Hassan's wife, gets pregnant again, and then Hassan's mother returns. At first, Hassan's really hesitant when his mother returns, but then eventually he starts to warm up to her. When the baby is born, Sanabar, which is Hassan's mom, would not let it go, and the baby's a boy named Sorab. Then Sanabar dies when the baby is 4. The Soviets are pushed out of Kabul. Hassan teaches Sorab to read and fight kites, and then kite fighting is outlawed. Chapter 17. Then we switch back to Amir's point of view. He thinks back to his past. Khan has a letter from Hassan to Amir. In the letter is a picture of Sorab and Hassan. Hassan is very kind in the letters, wishing Amir well, and asks him to come visit Hassan. When he asks if Hassan is at the house, Khan tells him that Hassan and his wife were killed protecting the house. The Taliban had moved in, and Sorab was sent to an orphanage in Kabul. Khan asks Amir to retrieve Sorab and bring him back to Khan, who will send Sorab to a nice family living near Khan. It's an orphanage made by this American family.
They're Christians.
Yeah. Khan also reveals that Ali was sterile. So then Amir kind of starts to figure out, with Khan's help, that Hassan was actually his illegitimate half-brother. In anger, he storms out. Chapter 18. Amir flees to a tea house to think and he liked to think. He realizes that Baba did all the things. He realizes why Baba did all those things, like why Baba took Hassan to pick out kites, why he fixed his hair lip, and why he kind of like always made sure Hassan was like with them. Amir begins to think that he was responsible for Hassan's death, and then Amir realizes Baba stole the truth from him and a life from Hassan, and which he knows like theft is the only sin, which was what Baba thought. Okay, when he realizes that he and Baba were similar. They both betrayed their friends. Khan has given Amir a way to atone for his and Baba's sin. Khan prays for the journey that Amir like agreed to go on. Okay, so chapter 19. Amir is being driven by Farid through rough roads. Farid, I don't know. This makes him car sick. Farid is snappy with Amir, accusing him of only coming back to sell his father's land. Eventually, they make it to Farid's brother's house, where they will stay for the evening. Amir and Farid are fed a nice meal. Amir reveals his real reason for being for going to Kabul to like get Sohrab out of the orphanage, and then Farid starts to think better of him. Amir has a dream where he's the man killing Hassan, and then during dinner, Amir had noticed that the kids were staring at him. Amir had thought they were staring at his watch, but later he found out that they were staring at the food because they were underfed. So before he leaves, he leaves a wad of money under his mattress, and then at the end it said something he hadn't done in 26 years. So
and that's like referencing when he like put the money underneath Hassan's like pillow, which made like Ali decide to take Hassan away.
Yeah,
but this time it was a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah.
All right. So character. Describe the character's ethos.
Well, again, it's his story, but then like it randomly like changes to
Khan's point of view.
Khan's point of view. So like you like believed like what he was saying about like Hassan and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you never really question anybody in this book. Like,
Yeah.
you just kind of believe that they're giving it to like, you as like what really happened.
Yeah, like they're all recounting like their past stories. So like obviously they have like,
and they're not seeming like the best people like ever. So
Yeah,
like, when they tell the negative things about themselves,
they show
like,
their
it kind of
regret.
shows you that
Yeah.
they're telling the truth. All right, how do we feel about the characters?
I think this chapter kind of gave us more of an understanding of like why Baba favored Hassan, and it kind of, I think it made me dislike Baba a little more.
Yeah, because I mean, then I felt worse for Amir because like Hassan, like Baba was trying to make up for like what he had like not actually like claiming Hassan as his kid. So then like
He was more of a father.
Amir was more of like the illegitimate child at that point because like he was trying to like treat Hassan and make up for it.
But he was like neglecting Amir at the time. Yeah.
All right. What motivates the characters?
Well, right now, what's motivating him to get Sohrab out of the orphanage is to like, it's kind of like to repent for like his sins.
Yeah,
like
to atone
Yeah.
for him, because like,
yeah.
The same thing with leaving the money. Like he's trying to make up for all the mistakes he's made in the past.
I think he's also trying to make up for like Baba's mistakes too. Like he
Yeah.
realizes like he has a really great opportunity to like help.
All right. So the setting, the genre is historical fiction. So it's not changing. How does the setting affect the characters?
Well, I think this one was interesting because we shifted from when he was in America to when he was back in Pakistan and then eventually traveling back into Afghanistan. And so I think like he kind of kept saying how he sort of felt a little uncomfortable, but then Farid really pointed out how he was kind of just like a tourist, and it's like in this land, it really wasn't his homeland because he didn't know like what the country had turned into, and he hadn't seen it. Like
He even, like, Farid, he even said, like, that, like, while Amir was still living in the country, like, before he even moved to America, he was still, like, a tourist. Like, he just never really knew, like, what, like, he was in his own bubble that, like, Baba kind of, like,
But I mean,
put
that's
around
kind of
him.
all kids are like in their
Yeah.
own bubble. Like,
Yeah.
you don't really experience the real world until you like
Yeah.
get older.
And he never had that chance in Afghanistan.
All right. How does the setting affect the mood?
I think he's
It's
tenser.
dark. Yeah, it's tense and dark
Like-
because of everything that's happening. Like,
Yeah. Like, you could tell he felt really uncomfortable going back to, like, the places that he'd been.
I felt
And it was like depressing that like
Yeah.
he couldn't have kids,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just like the whole thing was just kind of
And
like
Khan was
Hassan
dying.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was like
There-
dead or dying.
There wasn't really like any like uplifting tone at all.
No.
No.
It was all down.
Plot. Describe the conflicts. Describe the conflicts.
I think really it's just, like, Amir's internal conflict.
Yeah,
like,
it's
this
kind of-
chapter. Like, I guess originally, like back in the beginning with the whole, like, children thing, like, there's a little bit of conflict there. Like, with Soraya and, like, Amir, like, you can tell they're kind of distancing each other because, like, they had planned on having kids and now they can't. But I think the rest of the chapter is about his, like, internal struggle.
Like whether to go and get Sorab or not, or like
Well, and then once you found
Whether
out
to
that
go
like,
and see
Hassan was
Khan or not.
actually like Baba's son, and like
Yeah.
like how do you feel about that when you just find that
Yeah.
out? And then they're both dead, so like you can't even talk to either one of them about it.
Yeah, and, like, you can tell he's just, like, he's so angry and, like, heartbroken, and he just, like, he doesn't know what to do.
All right. How does the narrative invoke logos and pathos to move the story forward? Well, like you're emotionally like
Oh, yeah.
pathos like
the whole time.
you're
The whole
feeling
time.
for him the entire
Oh,
or
yeah.
all of them, I guess, the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
Like you feel bad that like Hassan, he never like knew like who he
Yeah.
was and like what he was worth. Like because I mean like yes, he wasn't like full Pashtun or whatever Amir is, but like he like still like he wasn't like
I mean, the entire beginning of the book, you just think like Baba's like a good guy for
Yeah.
like treating his like servants like,
yeah.
yeah.
but really he was trying to make it up to Hassan and probably Olive too,
yeah,
because
Yeah.
that was, like, the biggest whatever.
And like Ollie
shame.
was his friend, so like it's just like when they were younger, like it was kind of like the relationship that Amir and
Yeah.
Hassan had. So it was just kind of
I guess you can really see how they're, like, foils of each other.
yeah, they are. That's good.
good job. Okay, so point of view. Well, it changed in the one chapter where it was Khan.
That was
Yeah.
really weird. At first, I didn't like.
Yeah, it
I
took
was
me
like,
a-
is he like quoting this? Like, are there
Yeah.
like, quotes somewhere? Or, like, what's happening? But like, it was a really weird shift.
But, I mean, like, I was personally, like happy they did that. It wasn't
Yeah.
something, like, we had to figure out, like, by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, not, like, by ourselves, but, like, figure it out kind of as Amir had
Through
figured it out.
dialogue. Mm.
Yeah. Like, it was just given to us.
Yeah. How does the point of view affect what the narrator reveals and doesn't? Well, like, kind of like we were saying, like, when it switched to Khan, like, everything was just, like, told to us. It wasn't, like, slowly getting information. It was just, like,
Yeah.
all there.
It was every detail too. Like when you like tell somebody about something, like you're not gonna say like, oh, his, like I don't know. You don't really get like every single minute detail.
And then the next question is about shift, which we already answered. And then how does the narrator feel about the characters? You can kind of sense, like, Amir's bitterness towards, like, his dad. Like,
yeah.
like saying that he like broke the sin that he said was like the
Yeah.
largest
Oh, yeah.
sin, like because he used to have him like up on this pedestal, like that he's such an amazing person and like I'm never gonna be that person, but then he realized that he was human like he was.
He was also kind of showing some like hostility toward Khan when like Khan mentioned that he should be the one to go and get Sorab. He was like, well, like why do I have to go? Like
Yeah.
he didn't feel the like need to.
Well, I think he really just wanted to distance it from, like, himself. Like, I really don't think he wanted to, like, bring up everything that had just, like, happened again. And so I just think it, like, for him getting, like, Sorab meant, like, that he was going to have to, like, kind of face, like, Hassan's son.
Yeah.
Like, his
Like a part of
half-nephew
Hassan.
and everything. And, yeah.
Okay, then theme. Are there any new themes in this section?
I don't think so. Just, like, the regret theme that keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like paying for like what you've done.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
And signing out, we will fly a kite later.